hear this, you're in the right place. I'm Warren Martineck.
Hi, this is Julie Bell.
Hey, this is Hutch.
Bonjour, c'est Elfie Le Bouleux.
Hi, this is Mike Phillips from Upper Deck.
Hi, this is Lee Lightfoot.
Hi, this is Dave DeVries.
Hi, this is Andre Osh.
Hey, folks. This is artist-writer Bill Sienkiewicz.
Hi, this is Nelson Silva.
Hi, this is Craig Young.
Hello, this is Floris Holhorst.
Hey, my fans, I'm Paul Hill.
This is JP Ronitz.
Hi, this is Mick and Matt Gleed.
Hey everyone, I'm Ali from Titan.
Hi, my name is Hui Trong.
Hi, this is Stephen Solana.
Hi, this is Boris Vallejo.
Hola, soy Juan Méndez.
Konnichiwa, Peach Momoko desu.
Hey everyone, Tom Fleming here.
Hello, my name is Bob Budiansky.
Hi, this is Ray Longo.
This is Ron Leary.
Hey kids, this is your old Uncle Axbone.
Hi, I'm Eddie Wagner.
Hi, this is Bella Vachlin.
Hi, this is Chris Papantonio.
Hi there, my name's Darren Chandler. You might know me as RoboMonkey147.
Hello, this is Jerry Bennett.
Hey everybody, this is Dave Palumbo.
Hi, my name is Ingrid Hardy.
Hi, this is Brandon Warren.
Hi, this is Jason Montoya.
Hi, I'm E.M. Gist.
Hi, this is Ernest Romero.
Hola, mi nombre es George Vega.
This is Upper Deck sketch artist Marcia Dye.
Hi, this is Greg Hildebrand.
Hey, this is Jay Lynn Warner.
This is Ken Vera, formerly of Impel Marketing, Skybox, Fleer Skybox.
Hi guys, this is Marlo Martos.
Hi, this is Michael Munchausen.
Hi, this is Bobby Johansson from Upper Deck.
Hi, this is Mike Hampton.
Hi, I'm Nelson DeCastro.
Hey everybody, this is Jason Sobel.
Hi everybody, my name is Pat King and I was a model for Marvel Masterpieces 2020.
Hi, this is Tony.
Andy Lane Perna.
Hello, this is Peter Scanlon.
This is Greg McLaughlin of the Rebel Base Card Podcast.
Hi, this is Tom Steepmaker.
Hello, my name's Travis Ray.
Ciao, sono Vincenzo Riccardi.
Hey Bub, this is Eric Wilkerson.
Hey guys, this is Mike Seeley.
Hello, this is Achillas Kokinakis.
Hello, this is Jonathan Rupel.
Ciao, sono Simone Bianchi.
Hi, this is Jennifer Wu from Upper Deck.
Hi, my name is Ian Taylor.
And my name is Norn Rad.
And you are listening to
the Marvel Card Collectors Podcast. I can't believe we've done 100 of these things.
I can't believe we've done 100 of these things. Doesn't time fly when you're having fun?
It's been a blast, man.
Yeah,
I love this stuff. I appreciate you having this idea and coming to me and bringing me on this crazy roller coaster of a ride.
Oh, bless you, son. Bless you. Bless you. You know, in the UK, when you get to 100, you get a telegram from the Queen.
For real?
Yeah, have you never heard that?
No, I didn't. Does she see it as like competition?
I've got no. Well, no, but this has been happening for decades and decades.
I had no idea.
Yeah,
wow,
no, it's a proper thing. So and she's getting on a bit now. Prince Philip passed away a couple of months back, and he was 99. Yeah, he didn't quite make it to 100. I was wondering whether or not she'd send him a telegram on his 100, and who sends her a telegram when she gets to her 100. But no, it's an actual thing for those who may not know or be aware of it. It's real. It happens. People get telegrams from the Queen when they.
That's actually really nice.
Yeah, when they get to 100. I mean, I'll probably never get quite that far, or maybe I will.
No. Not with the way I eat. I'll definitely die early, for sure.
That went dark. Anyway.
Damn McDonald's. Did me in.
It did.
If you want to know what happened to me when I die, just look at the golden arches.
The golden arches, the golden arcs. What movie was it where someone had a golden arcs and they were trying to do a pastiche?
Coming to America.
That's it. Yes, that's it.
So good.
Yes,
so good. No, it's not McDonald's.
I've not seen the sequel. I can bring off to do it.
Say again?
The sequel, Coming to America.
No, that's a great title, but I haven't seen it either.
I'm not sure I can. I don't know. I'm not sure.
No, I don't want it to get ruined, man. It's such a classic, I don't know. I mean, it's just, I think that some sequels that happen later on that no one's like super invested into, like they just become reunion kind of movies where everyone gets together and they have like a little story. I don't know. It's fun type of stuff, but like, no, I can never do that either.
Well, the Friends reunion's about to happen.
That's right. That's the other thing I saw.
I saw the trailer for it. And I was like, first of all, how weird if you look at some of the photos, how weird David Schwimmer looks and how weird Lisa Kudrow looks. And secondly, I was welling up.
Really? That's hilarious.
I was like, yes, soft bastard. Anyway. So I'll be there for you, Norrin.
Be there for me.
100 more, yes, definitely.
I'll be there for
you. Before we get into kind of, I mean, people will know what they're about to hear if they've seen the name of the episode. But
yes,
a legendary guest will join us shortly, and you will hear from him. I kind of wanted to ask you an off-the-cuff question, and I haven't really thought about the answer to this, really. I was just thinking, we've done 100 episodes. Obviously, there's an awful lot of stuff we've talked about. There's an awful lot of people we've spoken to.
Mm-hmm.
Anything that you can remember that sticks out for you as a highlight or even a low light? Who knows?
A low light. You know what? I really loved... It was such a rush when we got a box for Marvel Masterpieces 2020. Like when you and I were opening it, that was like I remember us waiting for the box to come because we weren't sure. And then we ran on, you know what I mean? In record timing to do a bunch of stuff. I think my favorite episodes, funny enough, and I do love the guests quite a bit, like Julian Boris, that was sick. I mean, Bianchi was like a dream come true. But I think like my favorite episodes were the ones where we kind of didn't know what we were going to talk about.
Yeah.
We just had a blast.
Yeah.
Like that was fun. I feel like those are my favorite because they just seem to happen so naturally. You know what I mean?
Yes. Yeah. Organic and spontaneous.
Organic. Yes. Yeah. I felt good. What about you?
Oh, I don't. Well, I'm Dave DeVries. You never forget your first. And Dave DeVries was just was awesome. And Dave's wonderful. And just that I had a moment during listening to that episode where I was like, okay, this is like, I think it was the 6th one we recorded, but it was the 4th one we released. Because we had to shuffle it around. Do you remember? That's right. And so, but that was when we stopped saying in the episodes what episode number it was. Do you remember? We had to go like this ain't gonna pan out every time. 3, we had to episode over it. Episode.
That's right.
Things like that. It was really tricky. I remember saying to you, I've just recorded me saying the word 4, so you can overdub it. Yeah. Oh my goodness.
Yeah, overdub it.
But I just remember when we were listening to Dave and he was describing the Namor piece, and I was thinking, I had a light bulb, and I was like, you know what? If nothing else comes from this podcast, people who hadn't looked at that card or the art for that card would be able to look at it and appreciate it. And I was like, light bulb moment. That's kind of exactly the kind of thing I'd hope we could do with other guests. And Simone delivered in spades on that. Greg Hildebrand delivered in spades on that. Sketch card artists. One of the wonderful
they've been amazing.
Yeah, I mean, I love the fact that sketch card artists have crossed over with each other as a result of finding this podcast and then the group, and now are working together. I love that.
Yeah, me too.
I love that they are hopefully getting work out of the exposure and the symbiosis that goes on.
Has to have happened. I mean, with so many, it's weird, right? Because you and I have been in the game for a long time. You don't really love
the game.
Yeah, well, maybe it is. You haven't been trading correctly. So for me though, it's like Ian's gone.
Oh my goodness me.
Hey, Sketch Card Hive, how do you get these rare cards? Well, let me tell you, I always keep a pair of knee pads in the garage.
You went there.
No, so like, I don't know, man. I think after you collect for a long time, especially sketch cards are one of those inserts that can allow you to be so creative with what you do with your collection that it doesn't have to be the same as everybody else. And I feel like once I know the artists more and I click with them, I love their work twice as much than I did before. I just feel like that's happened to me more often than not. Yeah. And I hope people are running to get APs, because I think that's a really important component of the hobby.
Yeah, I do. One thing we haven't talked about on the show, simply because the few times where we haven't had a guest, we've forgotten to mention it, quite frankly. But you can now get, I say official, in that they're not podcast sketch cards, they're Marvel Card Collectors Worldwide sketch cards that our friend Jaylin Warner created. And the initial print batch, I think there's 1,000 of them. And Jaylin has them, and they are also available to artists who've worked on Marvel sets. So other sketch card artists like Andre Orsh, like Gordon Wills, like J. Peter Annetz. I think that's how you say his name. Sorry, Jay, if I've murdered that. And they're really good kind of Marvel fan art cards. Marvel characters from sketch card artists who've worked on Marvel sets. So, initially on that, you just contact Jaylin and he'll tell you which artists have got them, or you can get them straight from him. Yeah, it's just they're really cool. So thank you, Jay, for doing those. And so who'd have thought 100 episodes in that there would be sketch card stock?
I know.
What's that all about?
I know.
And what else? What can I say? I would say I'm going to go lowlights for a moment, not to bring anything down. Ooh. I am going to go lowlights. I've learned not to try and interview anyone who's actually actively at a con with customers at their table. Don't try and do that, especially not over a mobile signal when they can't hear you properly. So don't do that. And also, don't try and do a live episode on your podcast page without having tested it out first, because that was a shocker of a day, wasn't it? when you
definitely gonna have to figure out a way.
We will. Well, the thing is, finally we found a bit of kit that would work for us that we didn't have to pay through the nose for.
Finally.
And actually, it does actually work okay. I went in the other day because I was going to do a little test thing, and it was fine. It was all ready to go. So now we found it. We could.
Oh, that's awesome.
And we are going to do some. Once we finish a couple of things we're preparing for it, we're going to do a few Instagram lives.
Oh man, I'm so excited to do that with you, brother. That's going to be so much fun.
We're going to talk about character collecting and all sorts of other stuff. Character collecting is the first main one we're going to be going over. So we will let you know when they're going to happen. But otherwise highlights. It's just so cool to just talk cards every week with you and with collectors, especially the collectors, be they sketch card collectors, and there's an awful lot of those. I've got to thank Brian Bode and Brad Galley for giving me an appreciation and an insight into the MCU sets, which I hadn't really.
Brad is the best.
On there.
Brad is the best.
So
super kind.
And they're just great sets, and I'm in. I'm sold. I'm chasing
Beautiful.
those as well now. As Black Diamond's recently come out, and I've been oohing and ahhing over that. So yeah, what a journey we've been on. Well, what a journey we've been on. You think about
what a journey.
What we both collected, how we. Yeah, I don't know.
No, it's insane. It's insane how we've gotten here.
It's insane in the brain.
From where we were.
Humble beginnings, dear. Humble beginnings.
Beginnings.
Check you out. You've got a proper mic now with a pop screen. I'm still with the same old thing I used to begin with. And you've even got.
It works just fine though.
It works. Me and my dodgy webcam and my ever so dodgy Wi-Fi. And you with your stand-up desk now.
My stand-up desk, my fancy Silver Surfer statue, moving up in the world.
Walk around the room while you're recording.
That's what I like to do. Do some jumping jacks.
Our guest on this episode. Warren Martineck, quite frankly, what a guy. What a guy.
I mean, the godfather of sketch cards. I mean, let's be honest, much, right?
Yeah.
He is. Seriously, let's be real about this. He is the OG. He is, and he's very modest about this, but he was the one to give sketch cards the creativity and the styles and the things, the prompts that we can do, cover recreations, scenes, panels, you know what I mean? Different subsets, period tones. I mean, we have like everything and anything that every time he did a set, there was some kind of innovating thing occurring.
Yeah.
It's just, I'm just so happy we finally got him on this show.
Yeah.
Huge inspiration to the hobby.
Lovely man. And you know how lovely he is, Norrin?
How lovely is he?
I believe he's doing a giveaway. Our 100th episode.
Now, I'm going to be honest with you. Everyone knows how picky I am. This card is insane. Okay? Like it's proper next level, as someone say.
Good. I haven't seen it, so I'll just take your word for it.
Oh, you're going to flip.
Oh, really?
It's crazy. Oh. Wait, you haven't seen it? I sent you. No. Oh, dude, you're going to be pissed.
No,
because we can't enter, can we? No, we can't enter.
No, we can't enter. Of course we can't enter.
We can't. No, that's crazy. What do you? I mean, I didn't say that.
I think we're both commissioning him for something as a result of the interview anyway.
Oh yeah.
But
I'm definitely going to do that for sure.
But no, you didn't. You just
Okay. Well, guess what? We're going to do a quick little thing.
All right, let me see it, and it'll be on the tasting notes as well, and then we'll tell you how you enter, folks. Okay?
Yes, that's exactly what we're going to do.
Right. So you're going to share your screen.
I'm going to share my screen.
To allow you
1 second.
Hang on. Multiple participants can share simultaneously. That sounds sexual.
I like it.
We can share simultaneously.
I'm into it.
That's fine. I've got my gloves on. Episode 100, and he's gone there.
All
right. Right.
And he's gone. All right, you ready?
I'm waiting.
Here it comes.
I'm ready. I'm sat down. OMG. Right. Okay. That. Wow. Okay. Holy fuck. That's brilliant.
I know.
That's so good.
I thought I said this to you. I'm so mad.
That's not uncut either.
No, that's card size.
Card size. Okay. So what we're looking at here, folks, and it will be in the tasting notes, and one of you people will.
One of you listeners will win this card.
What I'm looking at here is a Marvel Bronze Age released in 2011 from Rittenhouse Archives. You can find them at sci-fi-hobby.com because we don't give Rittenhouse enough airspace or love on this show, and that will be changing as a result of this episode. What I'm looking at here is an AP. It's a cut AP, so it's not an uncut oversized one. So it's normal trading card, 2.5 by 3.5 size. Cover recreation of Amazing Spider-Man issue 294 from November 1987, which is Craven's Last Hunt, I believe, storyline.
I think Part 5 Thunder.
It's Part 5 Thunder, and it's a recreation of Mike Zeck's artwork. Now, the fact that Warren has been able to create this in such detail on a card of that size is frankly beggars belief to me, and it is astonishing. With Craven in the foreground and Black Suit Spidey, which we is that Black Suit Spidey? That's Venom.
Oh yeah, it is,
at that point, isn't it? Yeah, that's right. Venom hasn't started or appeared yet, but yeah, it's brilliant. It's so good. It's so good.
Wow.
You know what? I'm going to have to go there with some cover recreations on the AP front.
I think I'm going to do it. I think that's what I'm going to get. I think I'm going to do a cover recreation.
Yeah, I am as well. Right, I've
because
decided.
He's just so good.
Okay,
just so good.
Okay, so at some point, pay attention, people. Put a pin in this part of the episode. At some point during this episode, you.
Sorry.
Did you just unlock your car? Whoop, whoop.
I know. I wanted a pin. I was like, pin.
I thought a pin dropping was I thought it was a sound.
Maybe it is a.
Yeah, that works.
That's
that
a
works.
good one.
We'll do that.
Yeah, okay.
So, at some point in this episode, you will hear the recording stop. You will hear this noise. And then you will hear a password. Now, whatever that password is.
Not a safe word. No. A password.
No, not a safe word. Marigolds is my safe word, by the way. For
it's a good one.
It is
That's
good.
a good one.
It is good. When you hear that, you go to our Instagram feed and you find the post with that sketch card on there. And on that post, you comment the password and you also like our Instagram feed. And everyone who does that, if you've already liked our Instagram feed, hats off to you. Thanks very much. If you haven't, now's your opportunity to follow us on Instagram and see all sorts of beautiful, beautiful imagery that we create each week to promote each episode. We'll randomly pull. We'll leave it a week from this episode going up.
That's a good idea.
Yeah, we'll leave it a week from this episode going up, and then we will comment on that post and say, okay, we're going to pull someone, and then we'll do a fresh post announcing the winner.
Perfect.
And that will be mailed to. Now, hang on, we haven't figured out the details of this. Is Warren going to send that to you for us to send to anyone?
Yeah, I can send it to whoever.
Because I don't mind. Because Warren might not want to post it to.
No. He'll send it to me, and then
say someone from Zimbabwe wins, which is perfectly valid. Zimbabwe is a fine country.
Yeah.
Warren might not want to mail to Zimbabwe, but we will. Great. Yeah, we'll mail it.
No. I'm married to Zimbabwe. Yeah, I'll do it. Good. Sure, they'll get something.
Yeah, absolutely.
Wait, what?
I've no idea what's going on anymore. Anyway,
no.
Shall we?
Yeah, I'll take care of it.
No, and thank you for sticking with this. This is brilliant.
Thank you.
I couldn't do it without you.
Same.
And I've got some ideas about people we'd like to talk to over the next
year,
I guess, because this will probably be around the time of our second birthday, this episode as well, which actually falls quite nicely, having a 50th milestone around then. I've got some ideas of people we want to talk to, but if you got people you want us to talk to, or topics you want us to talk about, or sets that we don't talk about enough, then tell us. Let us know.
Please.
Comment below.
Mm-hmm. Ooh.
Below where? I'm looking down now, seeing if there's somewhere to comment on my chair.
Where do they comment?
Norin, thank you, brother. I love you.
Thank you, brother. I love you. I'm so glad we're doing this, man.
Yeah. Do you want to roll the VT?
Obviously.
That doesn't actually make sense.
Roll it.
It's not a videotape, but roll it anyway.
No, it's not video. But okay, here we go. Enjoy the show, guys.
I'm immensely pleased to be able to say the following words. Our guest on this episode of the Marvel Card Collectors podcast is none other than Warren Martineck. Good morning, Warren. How are you?
Good morning. It's early for me, but I'm doing all right.
You're doing okay. This is good.
I'm highly caffeinated. We're good to go.
Caffeine is exactly what we're fueled on over here. So for those who if anyone's listening who doesn't know who you are, I'll briefly kind of mention what I know of you, because I've done some reading up for this episode. So you did an enormous number, and I've untold volumes of sketches for the Rittenhouse Archives Marvel sets.
Yes, amongst many other types of sets. Yes,
many others.
Yeah, exactly. and when I was doing some reading up on you, using Dr. Google for this episode, it occurred to me how many different sets you've been on, and how many different IPs you've worked on, which we'll get into. But tell me about you. Tell me how you started, because I found an interesting thing in your on the internet where you'd done an alumni interview for the Kubert School.
Yes.
And that's going back some years that came out. So what led you there? What took you to go to the Kubert School and study art?
Well, I pretty much like everybody else, you all the way through school, high school, middle school, the English notebook was filled with more drawings than words, and I had even started like selling, artwork in high school. I'd have friends come by, slip me $10 and I draw them a Colossus or a Wolverine or something like that. And at the time I was just like, pulling out the latest issue or whatever and just copying whatever pose I thought was kind of cool. Even it's pretty much all I did the whole time was just sit there with a pencil in my hand drawing. In art class, I would do what they would ask me, and then at the end of end of the class, the art teacher would come over and hand me the sponge and bucket, and I'd have to erase all the pencil drawings I did on the table. It's like easy. Oh, that's a good enterprise, but you got to erase it. So, and I did not know what to do after school. I wasn't the college type, but I remember I took a couple of years off after high school, and I remember growing up and reading all of the Joe Kubert like ads in the back of the comics. They were always there, and I was like, I wonder if that's still in business. So I went back to my old guidance counselor, and she's like, "Who are you?" Because I never met her before, and it was 2 years after I graduated. And she's like, "Hold on, I got to go pull your file." So she had to go in the basement, and she's like, "Oh, let's look it up." And she helped me, hook up with them. And next thing I know, I'm in. So I did a couple of years there at the Kubert School.
Wow. Okay. So does it give you does it give you kind of a diploma or degree of some kind, or is it just a beginning, middle, and end course that you go on?
It really is more of a beginning, middle, and end type of thing. Okay. It's a three-year school. They teach you how to do it. You're drawing 15 hours a day. You're doing it while you're in school. Then they give you the same amount of homework to do it. And you get out of it what you put into it. A lot of guys coming in their first year not knowing what to expect. And, half of them are gone by the halfway through the year because they're like, oh, I'm not going to be able to do this, because it's a lot of work. But it's a great place to go. I learned a whole hell of a lot. And it's what you know, and being there, you meet a lot of people in the business too. So it's what you know and who you know. And you can, you get in there and, meet these people. And if you can get the job, great. Then you got to do the work and keep it. Yeah. And you can get some decent work doing it that way.
Cool. Any classmates that we might have heard of?
There's a time do you know Keith Champagne?
I've heard the name. Yeah.
Yeah. He's done a lot of inking work, a lot of writing work. There's a lot of DC comic stuff. He was my roommate in college and at school. There's a lot of guys a couple guys that are like, how did you forget me? Mike Sellers. Mike Sellers, but it was he did a lot of inking for like the X books back then. He was also my roommate at a different time in there. There's a bunch of guys. So
wow. Well, there's a reunion, I'm sure. So when you finished that school, how did you? Because I know that you then kind of moved into working on comics. How did that transition happen? Did that kind of overlap with the school, or did you get out and have the contacts to line something up?
I had during my second year, I started getting like background work. I was helping inkers a lot. And I was working on every book under the sun for Marvel, and a couple of DC books. And one of the guy I was rooming with at the time worked at DC Comics in the production department. And now, see, you're really pushing my memory here. Time-wise, I'm going to be terrible with numbers. So,
no, anyway. That's fine. I'm just curious. No, don't worry about it.
It was something to the point of where there was an opening in the production department, and they said, well, why don't you come in and interview for it? So I did. I did out of the 3 years, I did 2.5 years at the Kubert School, and I left because I started getting work. I mean, that was the whole idea of school.
Yeah.
because they don't care if you got a diploma or anything. They just want to know if you could do the work or not. Yeah. So I got a job at the production department of DC Comics, and when I worked there 7 or 8 months, I think. And work was just coming in, so it just led, one thing led into another. I hooked up with many inkers. And I was working full time helping them ink books. A couple of guys actually helped pencil their books. Even out of some major offices. It was you can help me with this, but don't tell anybody you helped me with this type of deal. I'm like, no problem. But so yeah, I was making enough to pay rent, and things were going good. I started getting into editors' offices at Marvel. I got in good with the secretary at the door at Marvel, and I used to sit there and talk to her all the time, and she'd get me in to see editors, and there were certain ones that I couldn't get into, but I remember one specifically. I was sitting there talking to her for about 40 minutes or something, and trying to see if I can get in to see this one particular editor. It was Ralph Macchio, or Macchio, he was the Daredevil editor at the time. Yeah. And he's like, I don't know, he's really busy, and then he walks right past me into the elevator. So I'm like, I will be right back. So I followed him into the elevator with my portfolio. It sounds like I've seen this in the movies. I could do this. So whole elevator ride down. I told him who I was, and he said, "Yeah, stop by sometime, and I'll take a look at your stuff." So it was a lot of good stuff was happening, and then that all came to a crashing halt in the mid '90s when Marvel fired everyone. Yeah. I was just starting to get penciling work. I did some issues for MCP, did some Conan stuff, Savage Sword. There was a few other things in there too. And then all the guys that I had, I was lined up to do some Punisher work. I'd done some pinups for them. And, a month later, nobody left. And I was like, oh, man. So then I started, then I transitioned. I started getting work from Fleer through a couple of friends, and that's when the Overpower stuff kicked in. Yeah. And I did a couple of pieces of that, and they're like, oh yeah, this stuff will work out pretty good. So they just started giving me work, and that was the transition from comics to cards at that point. Right. Don't ask me the year on that one. I don't know.
No. That's cool. I have a feeling it's in the Kubert thing, because I think that Kubert article I read is probably about 10 years old now, and I have a feeling your memory was possibly a lot sharper 10 years ago.
I probably had notes in front of me.
Yeah. Well, I can't imagine it was a live thing. They probably sent it to you and you typed it up. So yeah.
There's that period between 1990. I went to the school like 90, 91. 92, something like that, between that and like 96, where so much was happening, just so busy. It's all a blur.
Well, that's the big boom too, right? I mean, if you look at Marvel Comics when everything was just going, and for cards as well, right? I mean, 96, 97 was the time where so many comics were produced, so many cards were produced, and everyone just kind of shut off, and a lot of things happened with Marvel Comics at that point. So it's not. I mean, the timeline's perfect. I mean, Overpower cards was 1997, right? Mm-hmm. So that's right around the time where everything goes down with Marvel, and then a transition to cards. Mm-hmm. So. It's crazy because, we're a Marvel card podcast, and we've talked about sketch cards in the past, but people who are big sketch card artists look at you and see you as kind of like the godfather of sketch cards. I mean, seriously, you are the person that gave it so much creativity and inventful. And I've been chasing you down on Messenger. I can be honest. I'm persistent. I've been bothering poor Warren here to speak to him for a while. And the big reason was this. I wanted to ask you the question. I was like, every time you did a sketch card series, and not only Marvel, DC, Conan, I mean, you did plenty of stuff. Did you work on Star Trek as well?
Oh God, that was.
Well, I feel like you did, right?
Yeah, Rittenhouse. the owner of Rittenhouse worked at Fleer Skybox. I mean, he broke off and created Rittenhouse. He made his own company. Steve Chernoff.
Steve Chernoff. Yeah.
Right. And their early licenses was the big one was Star Trek. So after a year or two of going, I think they wanted to bring sketch cards back. This is after the Fleer Marvel stuff kind of died off for a little bit.
Yeah.
And so they had the Star Trek set, and they're like, hey, let's see if we can get it going. This was 2001. I believe I worked on their first Star Trek set, which was a Women of Star Trek.
Wow.
And it was all, the repetitive sketches. They approve like 4 designs, and you just draw it over and over and over. And it was just a pencil. It was just a pencil tracing. Yeah. And, you're doing like 1,500 of those or a lot, and there wasn't many of us. There was me, John Zopp, and just a couple of other sketch card artists. We weren't sketch card artists. We were just artists working on these things. And from that point on, there were a lot of sketch cards after that.
Well, yeah, you paved the way. I mean, there was a lot of, and I know there was a lot of artists, but I mean, you have been there from the beginning, and I mean, we can all be honest. Marvel card collectors, people who are in the know, all look back at the Rittenhouse years of sketch cards, and we weep. We physically weep because they were so beautiful and so perfect, and listing all the artists, doing the numbers. There was such creativity from every artist and such a variety of things being done. And you are the master of that, doing so many different things. And originally, just so people know, it was Fleer Ultra Spider-Man, the Silver Age, and Marvel Creators Collection when sketch cards were first introduced for Marvel. And you were on MCC 98, Marvel Comic Creators. Beautiful works of art. And what people don't realize, like you mentioned, is that quite a few people do the where, you get a design approved and then you do so many of those, right? But what people don't realize is that you had legends of the industry and yourself who's worked in the industry working on those sketch cards. You know what I mean?
Everybody to work on this.
Everybody.
Yeah. If there was anybody walking through the offices at the time, they would just hand them a bunch of blanks, and here, do a few sketches. So, and give it back to us like tomorrow or something like that. And, artists all over the place, they were just doing them and handing them back into their editor. And then the editor would move them on to, whoever was running it at the time, the set.
That's the stuff everyone's been wanting to hear about. Other than other things from your work, is that you have you were there when they were just handing these out, and these are precious to us. I know it's crazy to hear this from collectors, being psychotic fans, but we love these pieces so much and treasure them because, many of us can't afford to have original comic book art pages. You know what I mean? Like we just can't. They're locked up, especially now. Right?
I got the ones that I got, and I'm holding on to them for dear life.
And you knew them. You were around them. But most of us, our only avenue to having that 1 degree of separation, right, is through sketch cards. And that's kind of what everyone's collections have kind of grown into. And you are responsible for getting artists to do this, I believe, as well later on in terms of later on. Yeah. I mean, and I do want to hear about that. I just want to try to stay chronological. So you started. I'm so sorry that this is going to be forever. MCC 98.
I'm good.
You're set. You're ready. MCC 98. You were working on great pieces then, and that's when we had ink sketch cards, and a lot of people are not used to those nowadays. And hopefully they will come back. Talking to Upper Deck conversations, the people have been asking for these for some time. To go back to the inking, to go back to the penciling, to go back to the sketchy part of sketch cards. But here's the crazy part. When we get to the Rittenhouse, all of a sudden we go from designs that have been approved and multiple copies of designs. And then on Avengers, I believe it was Avengers 1963 to present, the complete Avengers. You go ahead and basically make the very first sketch card subset. You are one of the people who was like, okay, let's go ahead and look at this comic cover. I'm going to do, this is number 20 out of 25.
Yeah.
I sent you the pictures through Facebook Messenger because when we share our screen, sometimes it doesn't go through all the way. But yeah, a very good friend of mine sent me these. I would say his name, but some people like to keep their stuff secret. But you were kind of the first to think about sketch cards as a subset and move away from the highly curated designs that were allowed only by certain, these 4 designs are allowed. Make copies of these designs, as many as you can, until your hand falls off. And those sketch cards originally, even the ones that have the copies, they're brilliant. You know what I mean? Even the copies of the copies. I mean, people knew what they were doing to the point where it was just masterful. Talk to us a little bit about your creation of the subset and your creativity through the years of sketch cards.
Well, going back to, I mean, the literally very first thing I worked on was Spider-Man 97. I'm pretty sure it was it, or was it Silver Age? No, I think it's Spider-Man. Again, I'm hazy about this. This was it was something that came in so fast. I'm like, all right, let me knock this out. They sent me somebody got me the name of the editor. Editor sent me some blanks. Pretty sure it was Spider-Man. And although it could have been Silver Age, I did 25 of them. And sketch cards. He said, just do a quick sketch of whatever.
So these are the 2 different ones.
Yeah, it could have been either one.
Sure, it could have been any of the number of these.
I had them for a day,
Wow.
Early, whatever, 90 something it was. And so I did 25 of them, all pencil, and I sent them back. And didn't hear from them. A couple weeks later, they're like, yeah, these are good. We're going to, keep your name on file and that type of thing. I do not know if they ever put them into the set. I've never seen them. I've never seen them show up. Never heard of anybody coming up with one. So I don't know if they made it into the set or if they just kept them as samples, So, but at some point they're out there somewhere. And so the MCC 98 came around and they're like, all right, we want you to do a bunch of these. I'm like, okay, what does a bunch mean? They're like, we're going to send you a bunch of packs of cards. And, and they got stacks of cards like this. I ended up doing 500 of those. And it was just, again, sketches, pencil sketches. After maybe the first 50, 75, you get, it's like, okay, I need to do something different. It's just the artist's head in you. You just go and it's like, all right, let's break out some markers. And, if I break my brush out for this, I can, make it, I could put some blacks in here and this will pop. It'd be really cool. Oh, look, I got colored pencils here. So maybe the next 5 or so I'll throw some color in there and something like that, just to make it interesting for people pulling these out. Cause it's like, it's, pencil sketch. So it's something that kept me from, jumping off the bridge just to make it more interesting for myself. But in general, most of them were pencil, and it was, I didn't think much of it. I don't know how long it took me, like maybe a month and a half or something. And I think it was like in a couple batches, I think I did a few hundred, and then they're like, here's some more, finish those up. And I was surprised by it wasn't a big craze until, if I remember, okay, they didn't put all of the sketches they had into the sets because they had so many people working on them. Wow. That there were thousands extra that they had. And wow. I don't know how it happened, but a dealer had gotten a hold of the extras. Like a couple of years later, like they sold them to this dealer, something like that, and they started putting them on eBay, and they were everywhere. And that's when people really started taking notice, from what I remember. And I remember even I bought 1 or 2 of my own from that from that eBay thing. I was like, oh, that's cool. I haven't seen that one in a while. I mean, some of those I look back and I cringe at, but other ones I was like, wow, that one actually came out pretty good. So some of those I tried to get, and that was that. Like I said, I think that at that point sketch cards had waned a little bit, but I think that was the catalyst for bringing it back, was being able to get all those on eBay. Pretty much any artist you want, you had your choice of these MCC 98s, and I think Silver Ages at the time also. Yeah. So, wow. I saw the craze happening. Like, people were really interested in getting those. I'm like, there's something to this. So when Rittenhouse contacted me later on about the Star Trek stuff, they had a license for Star Trek that they were going to do sketches for, but the people at Star Trek, I don't remember who it was, maybe it was Paramount at the time. They had no clue what sketch cards were, and they're like, well, everything has to be approved, period. So they came up with the idea of the repetitive sketch, or there's a term for it. People use, I don't remember what it is. And so like, I would draw like the Enterprise, or no, at the time it was Voyager. I had to draw the Voyager a certain way. Whichever one got approved, that's the one I had to draw over and over and over and over again.
Right.
So I started doing that, and I'm like, well, they never said anything about backgrounds. So if I take this ship and it's space, you can have pretty much anything you want going. So I put a planet over here and the star system over there, or maybe it's warping, it's warp drives going or whatever like that. And I'm like, so it kind of made it interesting for myself. So I was able to, even though it was repetitive, each card was different. And I said, this, at least it'll be something interesting for the, the fans to look at and enjoy. So that I think it was that mentality of just, trying to keep it interesting. When that first Avengers set, and I'm taking your word, that was the first Marvel one that they had.
2005, I think that was.
Was it?
I think so. Yeah. So. Let me have it. It's still the beauty of the Rittenhouse website is it's all still up there. Here we go. It was released 29 November 2006 is when it is. Okay.
So I started drawing these, and the nice thing with Marvel was it's like, draw whatever you want, and then what Marvel would do is they would either, I think at the time they would literally ship the cards there, or maybe it was just JPEGs for them to check over, and they would just flip through each one and they okay each one. Every once in a while they'd say, no, we can't do that one, but they did each one, so it wasn't repetitive. You could do whatever the heck you want. So when I halfway through like doing that set, I'm realizing it's like drawing panels of a comic book. And it's like, and then that was the thing that struck me. It's like, wow, when you lay a page out, each panel is specifically different. It's got its own composition. It works with the other panel next to it and the row below that. And there's gutters, and there's so much interesting stuff going into a page that it's like, wow, how am I not putting that into these things, which are their own separate panels? And it's like, all right, so once I took that mentality, it's like, all right, let's see what we could do here. And it made it so much more interesting. I looked at them differently. There's, instead of and that the fact that you're limited to just that 2.5 by 3.5, it's like, all right, you're limited left to right and up to down, but you're not limited from forward to back. So the more depth you put into it, it's, just layer and layer and layer. It's just so much more interesting to look at once you get it going. So you land that and you're good. And that was pretty much the take I took on those.
Wow.
I am so giddy. You have no idea. I've been waiting for this for so long. No, I'm serious. Like, I'm like freaking out inside. So just to give people some context here. Okay. So here we go. So the creativity moving through cards, you were also the first one, and this makes total sense with your background, being a professional comic book artist as you are, and being around penciling and inking for so many other artists. Cover recreations, right? That is like, other than the creativity of Bronze Age and having it totally sepia, Greatest Battles, and putting the panel comic books in the back in black and white to give it that depth that you're talking about. I mean, that creativity there.
Oh, yeah. That was the Greatest Battles.
the greatest battles.
I loved doing that set. That set was fun.
You killed it. I mean, it was so cool to see those. And I mean, the sad thing about sketch cards and the great thing about sketch cards, which is really weird, is that they're so beloved by, and I'm joking when I say this, real Marvel card collectors, that you don't see them, right? They're gone. Once people grab them and they treat them like works of art, and they're locked up forever. Yep. You know what I mean? And most people don't share them either, for various reasons. But, sketchcollectors.com, we have a friend over there who has that site, who archives a lot of sketch cards. I think it's a really great site. Be sure to check it out for our listeners if you want to see these great legendary pieces. But all of a sudden you did cover recreations, and they are, I mean, if you know about Nar and the detail work that he does, you have to understand that Martineck is amazing at doing this, and especially going down to the detail, the vibe of the page. That's what I really like, right? Someone can make a carbon copy of something, and that makes sense. I've seen recreations, but for you to do the recreation and to give it the same amount of life that the original page has, that's what I'm always really impressed by.
Cool.
So, yeah. No, and sorry, I'm complimenting you. But so I don't know. I got to stop it.
No, don't. We like to blow smoke up our guest arse every time they come on. So let's carry on doing it. Yeah,
we're very much fans. For the archive exclusive pieces that started coming up in the Rin House, where most of these pieces were, they were like by certain amount of cases. It's like a 6-case hit, something like that. And then you would get one of these special types of sketch cards. For those cover recreations, I know you're a huge Daredevil fan, and there's this beautiful Daredevil. I think it's the Frank Miller one where he's upside down that you did a recreation of. I sent you the picture or whatever, and you also did the Incredible Hulk 181, the first cover appearance of Wolverine.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
What was that like, doing this cover recreations? Because you did quite a few, and they're all on point. I'm still searching for the Surfer one, but I'll get there.
well, first, your first problem is like the 2.5 by 3.5 is not the same, proportionally speaking, to a comic book cover. They're different.
By 17, yeah.
So it's not like you can just shrink it down and go with it. So you're automatically going to be off. So when you go to lay out the card on there, it's like I wasn't thinking about it at the time, but the things that goes through my subconscious head, I guess, would be, what is making that cover so good? Why was it so dynamic? Why is everybody drawn to that? And it's always the composition, the layout, and the dynamics of it. So that was always something I kept in. What's the focus of this cover, like, specifically? So you get the focus on there, and then everything around it should be supporting that focus. And if you got to move a planet this way, or move a sword so it's just right this way, then that's what you do, and you make it as good as you can to try to at least, it's an homage piece. So if you're in a different size comparison, you got to do what you got to do to make it work.
Wow.
And I've thinking about it, it's like going back a little bit. I remember, as far as like quality wise, but I remember, Steve Chernoff, me, I think maybe John was there, but and Robert Kolbus. I remember having meetings early on with them, and we'd be like, talking about these sketch cards, and they were really liking some of the things that I was doing, because at the time I started doing slightly different things, and that's what was getting the attention. They're like, oh, he put some color on in this one. Everybody's freaking out over some color over there. So they're like, oh, can you put more color in? Add more color ones. So I was kind of digging my own hole at the time. But the stuff that drew more attention, that's pretty much guided where everything was going. And we all agreed that as long as we kept the quality of the sketches and the artwork coming out in the sets, people will always buy it. It's not about, bopping out as many cases as possible. It's the quality of it. And that goes back to what you're saying before, like, you can count on the Rittenhouse stuff, because that was, at the time, that was the stuff that was they were really focusing on getting the art right.
And they did.
Were. Yeah.
And they did.
They killed it.
Yeah. I look at the numbers of cards that people, that's the interesting thing about the Rittenhouse site, is that the early sets, they actually put up there the number of cards that the artist did for the sets. And that kind of stopped over the years, I imagine, because it got quite difficult to keep track of, perhaps. But on that Complete Avengers, it's got here that you did 266 cards, which must have been an enormous chunk of work, and some people on there did more than that. There's one person on here that did so I'm just having a look through. Ray Dillon did 398.
It's not uncommon for someone to have ddone over 400, especially on the FFA set.
378. It's just amazing. The volume
it's pretty amazing.
Yeah. Mark Texera, who, by the way, we love.
So nice.
360 sketches on Complete Avengers.
Beautiful pieces.
And, they're all wonderful. So am I right in thinking that during your kind of, because obviously Complete Avengers came out, and then we had Women of Marvel, Fantastic Four archives, some movie-related sets, then you went into X-Men, Spider-Man archives, Marvel 70th, moving through that kind of 4 or 5 year initial period of the license. Did you at that point kind of become kind of part of the team at Rittenhouse? Did you make that transition? Because it sounded like you had a very close relationship with them from the beginning, but I'm kind of curious to how that developed.
Yeah, because went from that first Star Trek set, within a year, they had gotten me to start showing up at like some of the card shows, the non-sport entertainment card shows. There's a big one in Pennsylvania, the NSU site, that they run like 2 of those a year, and early on I'd be doing those as much as I can. John Zopp was we'd hook up and stuff like that. I'd pick him up in Jersey and we'd keep going to Pennsylvania. And him and I hung out a lot, and we got to know pretty much everybody there. It's like one big family. You see the same people coming back over again. It's it's always nice to see everybody, we got in. I became friends with them, and we talk all the time. And they're like, all right, thanks for sending these in, Warren. Yeah, how about here's the next set? It wasn't can you work on the next set? Like, this is the next set we're sending you. And I'm like, all right, cool. Just keep it coming.
That's great.
Is there any angles you want from this set? And, they'd always have suggestions of what I might be able to do, or what are you thinking for the next set? Or I think there was specifically, I remember I had done, maybe it was for the Avengers set. During that one, I did like 4 or 5. I think they were like goddess cards or something like that, like Hela or something. And they were very they're muted, like gray tones. There was just like 3 or 4 of them in there. And Steve just really, he's like, man, I really like the looks of those cards. Can you do something for that for on this set? And I think that's where was it the Bronze Age?
The Bronze, the sepia. Yeah.
So that's where that came from. He's like, so I did a whole section. The main set was in the sepia tones. And then I did I think I did a small number of regular, color ones.
Wow.
But, so, I mean, we're always talking, keeping things going. And I was always trying to come up with something different that would keep myself interested. It
was always fresh. I mean, I think that was the thing.
Guessing what are they going to do next? So.
Well, we're still guessing because we can't crack boxes, but it's crazy. The more and more I dive into your work, I remember first coming into sketch cards, and I was younger. It was like 98 and I didn't have the money. But I remember at the time eBay, because my dad did technical stuff. So he fixed computers. So he was on eBay repairing pieces and would buy parts and stuff like that. So he showed me the auction house early. So I kind of grew up with eBay. But I remember the auctions that went on and people we've spoken to, like Chris Mixer, all the real big sketch card people were like, man, I remember when faxes would come in and everybody was like, I want this card just to get them, because, once they got from a dealer to people, you had to like figure out where to hunt these things down because it couldn't just all be cracking cases. And man, I remember going to these websites with these big sketch card collectors who are, giants in the field. And I remember just finding surfers and I was like, yeah, baby. And I would save the photo. I still have a file with like 30 photos.
It's the hunt that makes it,
Oh,
it's like
so true.
You're searching so long for something and then you finally find it. And when you get it, if you can actually get it, it's just so much sweeter.
Oh, it's so much sweeter. So
that's the whole thing with trading cards, is hunt and gather.
Exactly. The hunt and gather. And the connections, a lot of what's been really crazy with our group, I think what people are starting to realize, which is kind of the new thing, is like being able to find these pieces is not just sitting on eBay and waiting for them to come up, but it's also about like making connections and making friends. Like I had been on the hunt for this card for a long, long time because this was featured on the sell sheet. And I saw it and I was like, man, I gotta have the Martineck. I need this in my collection. I don't have one. And everyone keeps them and locks them down. And people don't like me, mostly because I hound them for That's FFA. So that's Fantastic Four.
Okay.
Archive.
Right.
Anyway, but made friends with a guy named Matt Fuller who has tons of your pieces. And, he was nice enough to, and he's really great, super awesome, great friend of the podcast and the groups as well, and kind enough to sell it. But that's been the latest thing that a lot of us been trying to get into, is just like, you have these pieces, no one's going to hound you. Let's just see the work, right? Instead of losing track of all these great artists, because, the Rittenhouse site still being up, all of us have like done little PDF saves and stuff, keeping the website just in case they ever take it off. But, being able to see those pieces is just amazing. And able to hear from you about these it's really a treat, man. Thank you so much for remembering this stuff. I know it's been a while, probably.
I'm trying as hard as I can.
You're doing all right. Whatever's in that caffeine drink you've got there, it's working. So you're at Rittenhouse, and obviously you've got quite a role. You've got quite a role going on there, with sets coming down through the pipeline. So, as you became kind of part, were you involved in kind of talent acquisition for Rittenhouse as well?
Yeah, we pretty like, I don't know, I would say 3 to 5 years ago, that time frame, the need for sketch cards was great. We then, and I remember, I can only do so much. The stable of artists that Rittenhouse had, could only do so much. So there was a big push to increase the number of artists, that they can pull from. So they asked me to see if I could, come in and see what I could do about, beefing up the artist numbers. And I don't, because I'd be talking to them. I'm like, yeah, I always get guys that are asking me, it's like, what's the best way to get into the business and stuff like that. And yeah, any advice. So they asked me, it's like, can we see if we can work this into more of a full-time position, which, I was already doing anyway. I was pretty much drawing full-time for Rittenhouse and then just doing minor side projects. So they created the talent acquisition position. Wow, that came out right. And basically, gave me an email, Rittenhouse email, and my whole job was to be the filter. New artists would come in, I would look over their stuff, and if I thought that they were good enough to go in, I would just pass them right on to them, and they take it and run from there. I would say in most cases, it was basically portfolio review. That's what that was, and I found myself telling, each person on the line the same thing over and over and over again. So I created, I took some of my, I'll send you a link later for it, but I created like a guide of what you should be thinking about as you're doing cards. And it was like lighting, composition, subject matter. And I would send pretty much either add the link to it, or a lot of times I would take their cards that they sent me and I would like redline over it. And it's like, now if you have your figure a little bit more like this, and then I'd put it back. So I actually spent some time going over everybody's stuff and say, this is what you need to work on. Do another whole set and, bring, send me some more. We'll see what we can do about getting you going. There were very few that if I'm going to say very few, almost none that I would say, oh, forget it, go do something else with your time. There was nothing like that.
Wow.
So, I think most people had, if you had the will to do it and, and you kept coming back, a lot of guys made it through that way.
I always knew there had to be
some guys I still talk to this day. They contact me, and so
I knew it. There had to be an eye there because I was looking at the cards and they were always so consistent from every artist. You know what I mean? Like, and doing interesting things where I was like, someone has to be looking at all these because there's such like a consistency between the artist and the work. And not that the artists aren't good by themselves. That has nothing to do with it. Like, I come from an MFA background myself, and I understand that revision and notes and, that work, that's how you strengthen your own work, is through revision. And I was like, man, someone's looking at these because they are just so consistent. Oh, yeah.
Well, like Robert was really good at that. He didn't, all the cards that came in. I mean, like if somebody drew 500, let's see, or 200 cards, maybe not all 200 got into the sets. They'd always keep some off to the side for like, like if somebody had a problem with a card that they at least they got a backup they could send the customer or something like that. And, maybe not every card was this, the greatest for the set, So I'm sure there were some cards that just never made it to the set. So, but that was, that just goes back to the quality standard. You got to keep the quality up.
It's interesting. It sounds like that. You kind of almost started the Martineck school for sketch card arts, which could be a thing actually. Let's put a pin in that. I was going to ask you actually about advice for people who want to get work as an artist on sketch cards, because we have a number of people that come into the groups who are asking those sorts of questions, and there are more specific groups that are tailored to that on Facebook, which seems to be where most groups are these days. So what we'll do is, if it's okay with you, we'll pop a link to that advice that you said. We'll pop that in our show notes so that people can, because I'm sure people would find that quite useful. So when you're at Rittenhouse, obviously the what we see when we look at the dates on the Marvel sets, that's not the only content Rittenhouse is putting out, because it's not just Marvel set after Marvel set after Marvel set. There's other sets and IPs in between that, the Star Trek sets, for example.
The DC cards you did were phenomenal. Those were sick.
So once you were on at Rittenhouse, was it Marvel set, then a different IP, then something else, then a Marvel set, or were you just kind of focusing on one aspect of it while you were there?
Well, there was always, while they had the Marvel license, there was always like a regular cycle. It was always at least 2 sets a year, at least, I think.
Yeah.
And sometimes they'll do the really small like mini sets or something. I forget what they call them. They'll do a small number of sketches for that also. So between Star Trek, I think Star Trek was their regular, and Marvel was their regular, and then it was interseasoned with other IPs. You like I said, you probably know more than I. I think there was Conan was in there.
Conan, I saw.
Yeah.
What's her name? Vampiria? Is it?
Oh, Vampirella.
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 That wasn't Rittenhouse though. I don't think.
No. Probably not. I don't. I just remember seeing some that you did.
I think that might be Bragant, I want to say, but I don't know.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah. Is that how you pronounce that? I've never known how to pronounce that. I always say Bragant, but if it's Bragant, that makes more sense.
Yeah, like gentle.
Okay. Good.
Yeah.
All right. Well, there you go. Mystery solved.
Unless I'm wrong, then sorry.
Well, you've worked for them. I imagine you probably know better than us. I mean, when I was looking through, when I was diving into Dr. Google, I was seeing work come up for Game of Thrones, Star Trek, Farscape, Battlestar Galactica, and I loved those Rittenhouse Battlestar Galactica sets.
That was another fun set.
Yeah, I bet. Yeah, I mean,
did you do Buffy as well? Great show. Buffy?
Oh,
yeah. Did you do Buffy Vampire Slayer too?
I did do Buffy.
Yeah. Me and Ian were talking about it. I think we were talking about Buffy before for our Halloween special, and I was like, I've seen some amazing Buffy cards that you did. I'm pretty sure.
I wish I did more of those. That was a fun set to do because I was a big fan of the Buffy set, and. It was just the one set, and I think they had gotten it. I think Cards Inc. had it beforehand, and they weren't able to do sketches for it. I don't think it
was Inkworks.
Inkworks,
that's it.
Yeah, they didn't do sketches.
You're right. So Rittenhouse got it, and I think Steve was finally able to talk them into doing sketches.
Wow.
So that was good. It's actually, funnily enough, I'm currently doing some commissions for someone in France who's a huge Buffy fan, and she commissioned me to do some more. I'm doing some PSCs for it. Mm-hmm. I've got some right here right now. So these are this is my own personal cards.
Oh, nice.
So there's a Drusilla there. She's got some. I'm doing a bunch of them. So these are
beautiful.
Whoa,
beautiful! I love that sketch card stock.
Yeah, so I mean, it's fun to do. What was the question?
We were just running through a list of properties you'd worked on because I mean we got to
right.
Yeah, we got
to the Battlestar stuff was awesome too. I was so glad that they got that because at the time the new series was out.
Yes.
Oh my God, that was mind blowing, that series, and it's great to do it and doing the Cylon ships. Oh, that was so fun. I love doing space stuff. Yeah, great.
Voyager,
your ships were
all different ways, and then Battlestar Galactica.
Yeah. Your ships are great, man. I saw like a bunch of like Star Trek ones, the Voyager, like you mentioned before, Enterprise, and like the Battlestar Galactica. I mean, they're so crazy detailed and really, really beautiful pieces. Yeah, that's awesome.
It's therapeutic just doing all that space stuff. It's great. I love it.
I guess it's like mindfulness because the lines are quite, I'm doing this with my hand. No one can see this, but it kind of, you got that curves and you've got the form and the structure of it is always quite a regular thing, I guess, especially if you're doing Voyager, repeat. So I imagine that can be quite relaxing.
It is very relaxing because a lot of especially with the space background stuff, I'm like, if you're doing the Marvel stuff, there's another layer of thought that you got to think about it. It's like, where are they in the scene? Is this character on a fire escape? I'm like, well, that's cool. Now I got to make sure the fire escape looks like a fire escape and the building behind it looks like a building. Yeah. But when you're doing space, it's like, man, I just sit back and I could just do whatever I want because nobody's going to argue with me with what it looks like,
Fair enough. Fair enough.
Sweet.
Then we got Wizard of Oz. And then the one that made me laugh was Thunderbirds. There was a Thunderbird set that you worked on.
Yeah, there was.
I think that was related to the movie.
It was. That was with what was the Twister guy's name? He was also in Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.
Bill Paxton.
Paxton, that's it. Yes. I remember doing that when we first got the cards back. Oh, they were so slick. It was like there was a coating on both sides. And it's like, oh no. So I had to completely, so we, every artist had the same problem. We had to completely come up with some type of new way of getting the, because you draw a pencil line on there and you barely couldn't see it. So that's why it was probably the first cards that I did painted were for that set, because the paint was, it was just easier to put on. You could see what was going on.
Yeah.
So I remember there was a bunch of, I managed to work with the card in a way that it worked and still looked cool. There was a lot there I threw away before I passed those out. Or I handed those back.
And funny enough, it kind of in a 6 degrees of separation kind of way, or 6 degrees of Kevin Bacon rather. That movie was directed by Jonathan Frakes, who played Riker in Star Trek: Next Generation. Mm-hmm. So immediately we have the connective tissue, because I'm sure you've drawn Riker a number of times in your career as well. With or without beard. I'm going to throw a random question at you. Which do you prefer drawing? Riker with beard or Riker without beard?
Oh, beards are always so much fun. Beards are fun to draw.
There you go.
Yes.
There you go.
That's awesome.
I told you it gets random. Lost in Space. What else we got here?
Oh, yeah.
Space is cool.
Stargate SG-1 and Xena Warrior Princess, and there endeth my list. But we've touched on a few others that weren't on my list. And I was just blown away by how many different properties. I mean, I'm sure I've maybe only got half of them there. And I know not all of those were for Rittenhouse, but it is amazing the breadth of different things that you've done. What's your, I know with Marvel, I think I read somewhere that Avengers was kind of your kind of love that you gravitate towards. Would I be right?
It's not specifically. I mean, pretty much. I mean, I grew up with the Marvel characters. I worked at a comic book shop in my teens, and that was it. Although I collected everything because it was free at the time, but I was just always more gravitated to the Marvel stuff. It clicked with me better. The characters are more grounded, and they're more interesting to me. And when Rittenhouse had the Marvel license, I was thrilled to the bone, and I couldn't wait to get on there. And it's so interesting drawing the Marvel stuff, because I could just do that all day long. Different positions, like how can I move the camera, and just keeping it interesting for myself. And what would be the best way to, I finally get to draw this character, when the next set would come out, and it's like, oh, they're not in that set, but maybe in the next whatever set, the FF set's coming out. Good. I can finally get to draw this character, and I wonder what my thing is going to look like. That wasn't a metaphor.
Oh dear.
But you get what I'm saying.
Yeah, I know what you're saying, but that still tickles me because I'm very childish. Is there this is going to be one of those things, asking someone what your favorite color is or what your favorite pop band is. But so I'm going to spin it round a little bit, rather than asking, who you love to draw the most. What's your favorite character or thing to draw? What characters did you find the most challenging, or what did it take a while for you to get a handle on, if you like, and you were like, I'm not sure. I'm not looking forward to that set because I know I'm going to have to do this character or this.
The password is
Martineck after Zeg.
Okay, well, the first answer would be green blue. The second answer is Marillion. And the third answer would be, I don't think I have I'm trying to think now if I had any issues with any characters. It was just, a lot of times it was, if for any character that I hadn't drawn yet, I'd be I can't wait to see what this is going to look like when I'm done, because let's just do it and see what happens. I'm stretching my memory here now.
No, that's fine. It's absolutely fine. Listen, I'm blown away by you dropping Marillion into the podcast. Because I work with someone who's called Kaylee for that very reason. Actually, her parents named her that because of that song. And you never know, we might put a snippet of it after the end credits just for people's amusement.
We definitely could.
Well, yeah, not enough people know about Marillion.
It's true.
We need to make them aware. We're going to make T-shirts. Well, we're going to throw a campaign out there and do something for Murray.
Save the fish. Anyway.
But as far as like characters, I mean, I was always trying to at least get some of the less popular characters that people may not know, and try to put them in a light that people would say, "Hey, what is this character? That looks kind of cool." I mean, how many people knew White Tiger or whatever? So I would try to take the more obscure characters and make them interesting.
Oh, I love that, because it's true. It's funny because I was going through this stuff and I was like, man, how many people have took a stab at this character? Like, how many people have tried this? You mentioned earlier about doing different camera angles. Man, that is so awesome. I was looking through a lot of your stuff, and we've spoken to, we've very, very fortunately on this show, we've lucked out and got to talk to amazing people like yourself and other amazing artists as well. And the thing we always come back to with the work, whether it's for card art, which you've done, comic art, which you've done, or, card art, sketch cards, which you've done, is that how do you get a story in this one panel, right? So when you were mentioning the panel and the camera angle, my cat's playing with plastic. Hold on. Come here, little one. I know. Life's hard. I love that the creativity always came that every card had its own story. And that's what I'm always so impressed by, and it is moving that camera around. It is what is happening in this scene. I think one of the pictures I sent you is of the Thing falling from the Baxter building, you know what I mean? And landing down. It's just such a great angle that you don't see, you know what I mean? And it's just aerial views and sweeping views. It felt very cinematic.
Thank you. And I was trying to do something interesting for each one, because what I would do is when I was done with the set, I'd scan them all in, and I'd set them up in nine card panels, and then post them on my website so people can see what, and help, basically like a checklist for people.
And thank you for doing that, by the way. Seriously, hats off. Thank you for doing that.
And that was one of the things that helped remind me that it is like a page, and each panel you've got to put a lot of information in to help tell that story. And, the more you can put in there, the better it is for the viewer.
Yeah. I'm just looking one of the sets. I can't remember what set it was now. You did that kind of the years, where the year was written in the top top right of the card, because Norrin sent one of them in the set of pictures he did, and I can't for the life of me remember which set it was, but I love the I think it was an incentive thing as well, because it's got that Rittenhouse seal over the image that I've got.
I kind of did that in what was it, like 2 sets? I think wasn't one an Avengers type set.
That's what I think it was all. I'm trying to.
It was. I think they were all Avengers covers.
Yes.
And then another one was, I think it was maybe like a Marvel Universe, maybe.
It was the 75th anniversary. 75th anniversary Marvel Universe. I believe that's the one also.
Okay, so I was doing something it was more like just an image, just to portray the main storyline of a cover or something like that. And then I just put the number in the issue number in the corner. I think that was what I did. I think that was what led to doing the covers.
Yeah. Oh, that's right. Yeah. The Marvel 75th anniversary, you had the 6-case incentive, exclusive classic cover comic recreation. Goodness me, that's a sentence. Sketch card by Warren Martineck. And it's got a tiny little image of some of them there. And then, of course, the 9-case incentive, those new kids on the block at the time, painted art sketch card by Michael McGleeb.
That's right.
Who are doing some awesome work.
Those guys are awesome.
Yeah, they're trip. So you also did a jam piece for X-Men Archives with Bard. B-A-R-D.
Yeah. Funnily enough, that was he contacted me, or I'm not sure how that came up, but I think he contacted me, and I just mentioned we should do something together, because he did a lot of painted stuff, and I'm always up for working with another artist. I think that'd be pretty cool. So I did the pencils. What was it? was it 8 or 9 cards or something like that. And I just knocked out a few pencils, which was kind of fun, just to do pencil version of something again. Sent them off to him. He colored them in oils. He knocked them out nicely. They came out. I thought they came out great, especially that Bishop card. Holy smokes, that Bishop card is amazing.
Yes. Wow. Yes.
You've lost me here. What set are we talking about? I'm trying to find
X-Men Archives?
X-Men Archives?
I think so.
Yeah, I think it is. So I put it in the...
Oh, did you? I'm sorry. I've got so many things I'm trying to look at.
No, I gave you I geeked out and gave you 20 something photos.
The man's done thousands of sketches. There's quite a few to look through.
No, please, no.
I gotta tell you, sometime in the mid 2000s, I went back and I started counting because I had kept track of all the sketches I've done. And somewhere in the mid 2000s was the last time I counted. I was 12,000 plus sketches.
Oh my Gideon. Wow.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
And so I have no clue what I'm up to at this point, but there's a lot.
Okay. And your I'm just thinking your speed of work must be, because we talk to a fair number of sketch card artists, and they'll get sent maybe 50, 100, and they're having to fit it in. I mean, to be fair, they're having to fit it in around day jobs often. A lot of sketch card artists. So it's not their main thing. So they're doing it on evenings and weekends, and there's a lot of work involved to do that. And I know you're very fortunate in that. My perception is you're pretty much full time as an artist. You're able to have that as your career, and that must be a blessing to be able to do that. So I'm guessing you've got slightly more daytime to do that with. But for a set such as, so for example, now if you were sent 250 blanks now for a new set, a Marvel set, what would your kind of timescale realistic expectation be for that kind of thing?
Well, it would depend on. It would depend on the card. It depend on the set. Because like for Marvel cards, it with full color Marvel stuff. You pretty much you got free reign of what you're doing. That's a little easier. I would probably 50 to 60 a month.
Wow. Okay.
That's doing it full time. And but when you get into things like Game of Thrones or Star Trek, where each card, especially like faces of actors, where each card has to be approved by the company and the actor,
I didn't know that.
You're spending a lot more time on faces and people to make sure you get it right, because there's a good chance if you don't get it right, it's not going to get approved, and you either got to fix it, redo it, or they're going to chuck it, and so you're spending more time doing that. So, stuff like that, then now you're looking at more like 30 cards a month. And there you go.
That's interesting. Wow. Have you ever done Star Wars? Because I know they have the likeness.
I have not. I wouldn't say I wouldn't want to. I would love to work on Star Trek. And
that'd be killer.
How can I say this? I can't work for those card rates. I'm not even sure if I want to touch on the subject. Like $5, $6, or $7 bucks. $5, $6, or $7 a card.
Yeah,
is ridiculous.
Yeah, it's pretty openly discussed on
we talk about it all the time, because we talk to other sketch card artists and we don't agree with it either, and we always promote getting APs because of that, because if you want sketch card artists to be putting out work that's going to be, at your level, it's just, it's up there, that requires quite a bigger commitment. And all these artists, it's not that they don't try, they really do try, but there's other things in life, especially when you're getting paid that low. You can't expect someone to live in a cardboard box just to make a random sketch card for $1. Like that seems unrealistic and unreasonable.
And not every artist can turn around and sell an AP afterwards for multiple hundreds of dollars.
Yeah.
Yep.
So it's like, it's the APs, the returns, the artist returns. To me, that should be a bonus. You should get a decent rate, and the AP should be a bonus that you could do with whatever afterwards.
Yeah.
And so I've turned down multiple jobs because I said, this is my card rate. I said, it's this right here. And if you can match it, let me know. I'll be more than happy to work on your set. I'd love to do some Star Trek and, the Marvel sets that the other companies have. I said, I'd love to work on them, but if
it'd be so worth it to bring you back to get you in there. I mean, that'd be a crazy selling point.
I just got contacted by someone recently. I'm sorry, I'm terrible. Now I forgot his name, but he just started up and he's got a new company. He just got the license for something and he wanted me to work on a set. And I was like, I'd love to. This is my rate. And he's like, oh, I would love to have you on the set. You're worth it, but I just can't afford it. And I'm like, oh, that's too bad. I said, but if you let me know.
Maybe next time around. I mean,
I think there's going to be, hopefully there's a trend where, this stuff can be good for collectors, the company, and artists where, sketch cards are 2 to 3 a case. You know what I mean? Rather than one a box.
Ask you guys that. It's like, maybe you don't need a sketch card for every box. Maybe, cut it into a third or something like that. And then, triple up the card rate for these artists.
Yeah.
I mean,
well, that's kind of where
it's from a collector's point. How is that?
Well, that's awesome. I mean,
it's kind of happening, but without the rate.
It really is. It's slowly getting there.
I think the only product that comes out now that has one per box is, apart from Marvel Premiere, which is top super premium, it's
basically all sketch cards.
Yeah, you basically only get 5 cards. A pack is a box. It's like $300, and you get 5 cards, 2 or 3 of which are sketch cards. So, that's Marvel Premiere. That's the top end.
Who's that? Is that like Upper Deck?
It's Upper Deck. Yeah, it's Upper Deck's thing. But aside from that, it's only really Marvel Masterpieces that has one per box now. So recent Marvel Anime, which was the Peach Momoko set, I think that was 2 or 3 per case. Certainly,
and people are really happy with that. I think the 2 to 3 per case really worked for a lot of people, and the quality of the sketches were very inventive. Very much a callback to what you were doing, which is having them being different, having themes, to this show, to us talking to artists being in the group. I think it's kind of reinvigorated a lot of the culture that's part of sketch cards. But yeah, personally, that's what I've always preached, is that 2 to 3 per case, paying sketch cards, an actual sketch card artist, an actual rate. The rarity will go up. The second market will keep the price there, but people will still hunt for boxes at the chance of pulling something really beautiful and having that experience, which is, it's unparalleled. It's a great experience to open a pack and get original art. I mean, just a crazy concept, but it's magical. Yeah. It's really awesome.
Very cool. Very cool.
Would you ever do, if someone asked you, or have you ever done actually, base card art, which I imagine would be working in a larger format with it?
I have done base card art. It's been mostly for, let's see. I got one snuck. Is that a word? Sneaked?
No, snuck is a word.
Snuck's good.
Into the Conan set. One of the pinups I did for Savage Sword, they used that as one of the base cards. But I did a small subset for one of the Star Trek sets it was like a 9-card set of just some of the main characters and aliens and stuff like that. And then maybe a couple of years ago, I did a huge subset for, it was called the it was the Ferengi Acquisitions, basically. But so what they did was I don't remember, maybe it was a 72 cards or something like that. So I drew 2 sketches for each card, base card, and they took the best one for the front and they made a base card out of it. So there's this whole subset. And geez, I wish I had some. I got a pack on me somewhere. I got one right here. Hold on a second.
That's okay.
Yes, that's cool. Because man, seeing an insert set from him for Marvel Premiere, that would be a great callback. Because he did it for NAR. Remember?
All right. So it was a Rules of Acquisition set. It was all about Ferengis.
Oh yes.
So they made a base card out of the sketch card of that one. On the back, they put the second sketch card, and then they put the sketch cards in the set.
Nice.
Which was pretty cool. So I was pretty happy with that.
Nice. I love it when I actually do. I haven't seen it often, certainly not from the big companies, but where sketch cards are reproduced so that you can have them as a chase set. I have seen that happen, and it's always so nice to have it. If I remember, Ree Owens did a subset for.
Women of Marvel.
I think it was Women of Marvel.
So good.
She's amazing.
So good. So nice.
And it was, and they looked. I mean, they were unmistakably Ree. But if I remember correctly, there was a printed version. Then there was a signed version as well. That was a lot rarer.
Wow.
I'm going into my memory here because I as you probably know, Noren's a Silver Surfer boy and I'm Black Cat, so I've got the signed Black Cat one that Ree did, and boy does she ever draw Black Cat. It's amazing. Do you? I'm going to have to show my Martineck. I'm sorry, everyone's got a Martineck in their collection.
Yes, they do.
And Noren's shown his. Mine is one of the Bronze Age. Sorry, my webcam is terrible.
Oh, okay, yeah.
It's one of the kind of. It's not. Is it sepia? I guess it is sepia, isn't it? It's not grayscale. It's mono.
I would call it a grayscale with a sepia color.
Yeah, it's beautiful,
because,
and it touches on so many things you've been talking about over the last hour. You've got the depth in there. You've got the positioning of where she is, and she's obviously up to no good. It's great. I love it. I absolutely love it.
That was actually it's a callback to going back to the Kubert school. I know the Kuberts were big into it. You take like a gray piece of paper or a sepia toned paper, and you draw something on there, you ink it, and you got your blacks, and then you hit it with some white out, and there's just this popping going on. So that was Bronze Age, right?
Bronze Age, yeah, Marvel Bronze Age.
I think what I did was I set up a big folding table out in the garage and laid all the cards out, and then just I took my airbrush and I just sprayed them all in one shot. I think that's what I did for that set.
Okay.
What?
And then I think I might have penciled them first, and then I sprayed them, and then I went in with the inks and the whiteout afterwards.
Well,
that explained that Thanos that you sent, Noren. That was Bronze Age.
Yes, that was Bronze Age. Yeah. So there's even you did something really cool too for, I think we talked about this, for the Fantastic Four set as well, for the stars. It's like white paint and a flick of the brush, and you have this just this really so there's this kind of layered to the stars of your cards for that set where they're kind of like paint on paint marker or something like that. It's really quite cool.
Yeah, that's a classic inking technique where you take basically you black everything out, BWS, black with stars. You black it all out, and you take your toothbrush and you put white out in it, and you flick your toothbrush.
That's awesome.
You mask off the areas you don't want to hit, and you flick it like that. So you get a random pattern, and then you go in with a brush afterwards and hit a couple of larger ones, to give it a little bit more variety.
And obviously remember to not put that back in your bathroom.
That's no longer your toothbrush.
Yes, don't lick your thumb afterwards.
Yeah. We've all been there. We've all done it. Yeah. Yes. You kind of. I was going to ask you actually. If the phone rang tomorrow, would you go back onto Marvel cards for Upper Deck? I mean, we've kind of answered that and touched on it.
Right.
I want to talk about your signature because there are signatures and there are signatures and there are signatures that are almost a brand in their own right, and actually yours is pretty much up front on your website, I think, or on your Facebook page. I would put it up there along with Joe Gisco's or Simone Bianchi's in terms of how recognizable and how beautiful it is in and of itself. Regardless, is that your, if you sign a check to me now, not that I'm asking you to, although feel free, would I get that signature, or is that very much a creation for your trademarking of your brand? Or
you'd be like, what the hell is that? What's that scribble? Yeah, there's a big difference between my signature and my autograph. Yeah.
That's interesting.
Yeah, they're so different. It's not even funny.
Because you've managed to do this in such small. I mean, listen, that's just on there, but you imagine the size of some of these things. That's nothing. Your eyesight's obviously pretty good, because some of the stuff you do is so tight. Well, maybe we're all getting a bit longer in the tooth, but some of the stuff. Yeah, okay, there we go. You've got tools of trade. So is that your kind of main desk that you do your work out behind you? Is that what I'm saying?
Yes and no. I mean, this year's been crazy. Everybody knows this year's crazy. So there's been a lot of shuffling around. My wife's had to work out of the house where she's normally out. So we've had to juxtapose the offices, create new offices, and so I've moved back to the an old space I had in the basement, and so I'm kind of spread out right now. So This is kind of like temporary digs right now. So I got markers set up. I got my table here. This is specifically my card table.
Nice.
And I got a ton of other things going on. Believe me, I'm creating a whole new business, doing other things.
Oh wow.
That's awesome.
This is where the magic happens.
That's where some of it, yes. And I still have a table upstairs. If I have to do larger pieces, I've got a bigger table. Actually, the promo shot I sent you guys, sometime last year.
Yes.
It's got that. That's the other table that I worked the big pieces on.
Good.
Big pieces, kind of like this one here. I got this was a symbiote piece from a card. Somebody commissioned me to do a four card or an 8 or 9. It was like an 8 card puzzle piece.
Yeah.
Puzzle. And I liked it so much that I wanted to make a pinup out of it. So I started working on that. So lately I'm working on this one. I'd like to ink it up and make it all happy and stuff.
Nice. Do you?
That's sick.
And we'll add obviously links to your website and wherever on the show notes. But do you sell prints of any of your work? You mentioned that you were going to create that and ink it up and things.
I haven't in a while because I haven't done many conventions lately.
Yeah.
It's been years, really. I've been busy, and man, they wipe me out. I do a convention for 2 days. I spend 2 or 3 days prepping for it, and then you're down drawing the entire 2 days while you're there, and then you're taking requests when you go home afterwards. So you're drawing for another day or two after that. And then you're taking like 3 days off to recuperate from it. And it's like, I like meeting people, but man, it's not my favoriteest thing to do, going to conventions. But so I haven't sold prints of the stuff in a while. That's usually when I would have prints made up and stuff like that.
Cool.
But that might be one to, maybe I'll computer color that one or something and make some prints.
I have to say, I'm sure there'd be a market for it. Certainly amongst the people in our group, at least, would lap that up. There's a couple of massive symbiote collectors, and one guy who's into Carnage like you wouldn't believe. So, yeah, I'm sure it'll be all over that. It's interesting you were talking about cons, because obviously no one's been going to many because of COVID and stuff like that. I imagine the travel time as well, because America's a big place. You got a lot of travel for that. Would you? Yeah. Obviously you're Eastern, aren't you? Are you New Jersey? Connecticut. Yeah. Okay. So even there on the Eastern Seaboard, it's still a fair old drive time to get to places where the cons are. So, Norrin, you went to a relatively local one, and it was like an hour each way, wasn't it?
Yeah. Yeah, North Carolina is big. Yeah, it was intense, man. There's not really, the card shows are pretty spread out. The ones that really have them in California, where they're really pretty consistent. The non-sport card scene is kind of tough too. I'm hoping with everything as it's going, the excitement for Marvel cards is continuing, that there is some, more non-sport card shows to go on, because there is such a brevity of like history here and inserts and things for everybody that I think it'd be really fun to have this kind of grow in popularity once again.
I think more people. I think once this is over and I think we start getting slightly back to normal, I think people are going to be itching to get out. And I think the conventions are going to come back with a vengeance.
And then some. Well, the hobby's been so, I'm sure you've read articles about it and we've been talking about it, the last 18 months, the hobby's just gone boom because everyone's stuck at home, for the most part. And, I think I read in the last week, Walmart and Target have stopped stocking cards. They've had to, because someone pulled a gun on someone in a parking lot over a Pokemon card or something in a Target.
It's America. I'm not surprised.
Yeah. It's like, I'm reading this and it's like crazy. It's crazy enough that they're having to limit it. They were having to limit it just Friday morning at 8 a.m. They'd put the card stock out and it was limited to 3 cards, 3 boxes per person. So it's absolutely bonkers. So I think once it starts up again, we don't really have that scene over here in the UK, but I'm very envious of my American brothers and sisters who get to go to these card shows and cons. I would give my right arm to be able to come and see you at one of your few and far between cons, and just say hello.
Oh wow!
It was where was it? It was like an NEC at
Birmingham, NEC.
Birmingham, that's it. Yeah. I don't remember what year that was. Probably mid 2000s, I think. Holy cow, did I work hard on that show? I've never worked that hard anywhere. So that was amazing. I'd love to come back at some point.
Well, I'll have a word. I'll see if I can get you. To be honest with you, I promised Jusco I'd have a word, and that's 18 months ago, and I still haven't managed to sort anything out. Stuff happened, but the card shows over here, I think, things haven't opened up yet back over here, and we've got this Indian variant going on, so who knows when it'll be. So fingers crossed. What are you working on now that you can tell people about, or what's upcoming? Where can people next see your
something completely different. Me and 2 guys got together and we're creating a company that's it's called Adventure Kingdoms, and we're going to be starting out like YouTube wise. We're going to be creating videos for gaming, like tabletop gaming stuff.
Nice.
Crafting, doing a lot of builds for.
Oh, nice.
Wow.
Like I got a ton of that stuff going. We've been gaming for almost 10 years now and recording each game. And I'm going to create my own videos with artwork, with miniatures, putting it all into making like mini movies with us gaming and the characters doing whatever.
Cool.
So I got tons of stuff going on. So we're hoping by summertime to start putting that stuff out and moving on to like creating our own game system, the whole works. We're all in. We're going bonkers with this stuff.
Nice.
So gotta keep us updated.
Is this a game you've created over these years?
Well, we've been using a system called GURPS that's already been created.
Okay.
But it's led us to the point where it's like, all right, we can see the limitations of we doing the stuff that we'd rather do. Why don't we just make our own system? Between the 3 of us and all our friends, we've been gaming since the 80s. So we know this stuff backwards and forwards, and it's like we could do this. let's make a company and just start going for it. So over the past like 6 months, we've been putting everything in line, got all the social media locked in, got the websites locked in, got the names trademarked. We're working on it right now. So it's taking up a big chunk of our time. So I'm doing commissions on the side, and just to keep some money flowing in.
Yeah.
Like I said, hopefully by the summertime we can start advertising it and going to town. So you guys first guys hearing about it.
No,
please let us know, man. And if you want to, if you're starting up a Kickstarter or anything like that, and you want to put that in our group and share we have a lot of gamers in our group
as well, and
it'd be great. So anything we can do to help, this sounds phenomenal, man. That's really cool.
Yeah,
cool.
Absolutely. And if people want to get one of those lovely PSCs from you, obviously your schedule notwithstanding, where should they go? What's the best place for people to go to kind of, contact you about commissions?
I would say hit me up at probably my Facebook page. Okay. I know I got my personal Facebook page, which I don't frequent too often, but the probably my art page.
Yes,
the art of Warren
post most of my pictures and stuff like that. That's where I'd like to keep most of my professional stuff. So if you like like that page and send me messages through there like you guys have been doing, maybe you could put that link up for me. That'd be awesome.
We will.
That would be the best way to do that. I'm hoping to, once I knock out, I've got a few lined up commission list wise. Now I still have to do a bunch. But I'm hoping to keep a steady flow of commissions going, probably starting in, what month is this, May? So I'm probably starting in June. I don't know when you're posting this, so anytime like after June or July.
Well, this will be soonish. Yeah,
for sure. So, and we'll post all the links and promote it as much as we can, because I think people would love to hit you up.
And I've got. Plus, I've also got. I still have a lot of artist returns.
Oh, good.
Oh my goodness! I might have to. Once we finish recording, let's have a chat.
I got you.
Oh my goodness! Okay.
I got some greatest battles. This is a 2-card puzzle. What else we got here? This is Marvel. This is Marvel Universe, but I think that goes for a couple of different sets.
It does, yeah.
What else we got here? This is
Marvel 75th. Yeah.
75th. And and they're all blank. They're just waiting for people to say, you know what I need on that card, Warren? I need a Silver Surfer or Black Cat or whatever.
Just put the 75th on the side. I'm gonna message you after.
Your fancy is. We got some Avengers.
Wow.
They're all artist proof, artist returns, more Avengers. What is this one?
Can I just raise, by the way, for those who can't see what we're seeing, we are witnessing literally a fistful, a Scooby Snack Heights stack of Rittenhouse artist proofs. But can I just say how joyful those oversized APs are for collectors? I mean, whoever had that idea at Rittenhouse, if that was Steve, if that was Robert, if even you want to take credit for it, whoever had that idea, hats off to you.
Well, I mean, I don't know who could take credit for it, but it was. I remember early on, saying that it's, as an artist, it's easier coming because you've got. This is how we usually get them. Because you got the register marks, that's where they're going to get cut.
Yeah.
Because you're sitting there working at them, and your finger, I'm right-handed, so my left hand is on the card all times, moving it around wherever angle I need it to. And with that outside border, it's just so much better. That's, where you can touch it, you can smear it, you can check your marker. What color am I using? Is that going to work there? You get it. You can mark it up all you want when you're doing it, and it's going to get cut off. So it's always nice to have that. It's tough when you get pre-cut cards.
So that's interesting. So the Rittenhouse ones that were packs, so these when they're cut down, did they all go out that size and then get cut down?
That's.
So they all started. They all started. So I know the AP ones are like that, but all the pack ones were larger and then they got cut.
Yeah, that's correct. They all come out like this. So
right.
Like, yeah, and then afterwards they'll print the AP on there.
Because that's interesting. Upper Deck don't do that. They send them out card size. They don't have to bleed.
So like,
a lot of those cards are they do these like trifold cards and stuff like that. So it's a little bit harder to some of those fancy cards that they're doing now. It's harder to have that extra bounder on it, but.
Yeah, so like the thicker cards, they don't do that. But even when they first came out with sketch cards for Fleer Ultra, Spider-Man, Silver Age, and Marvel Creator Collectors, for Marvel cards, those cards were oversized as well and then cut down.
The Spider-Mans weren't.
The Spider-Mans weren't. The Silver Age and the MCC 98 was, though, right?
Yes.
I feel like that's true. I might be wrong. I feel like I've seen those bigger and then were cut down. But the Fleer Ultra Spider-Man, that's interesting that those weren't. I didn't know that.
It did make me laugh there while Warren's gone off to get what he's gone to get, is that when Warren was saying about these newer cards, it made me sound like all these newer cards they're coming out with these days, they're so high tech. I don't know what accent that was, but yeah.
I don't know what accent that was.
I've got no idea what accent that was. Oh, hang on. What are we going to see?
That's an uncut MC98. MC98. And wow. There's an uncut Silver Age. Like,
oh my goodness!
Okay,
and so somewhere I do have a few extra Spider-Mans. That's how I know they're cut, because they're already.
What was the address again for the studio?
Seriously, he'll drive through the night. Yeah, he'll turn up on your doorstep, get that restraining order and the shotgun.
You need to put that in place today.
Yeah, see what, 10 hours away or something like that.
Yeah, just I mean. I'll get there fast.
He can do it in 5, trust me. If he knows there's a card at the end of it, he'll do it in 5.
I don't need to stop.
Whereas me,
my computer to the car, so you don't know.
Whereas me, I'll start swimming on Tuesday. I've got no idea what's going on. You know what? I think we've kind of come to a natural end here. We're going to go and raid Warren's house. We know he's in the basement.
Restraining orders up on
restraining orders up. And Warren, you've been delightful. Thank you. Can I just say, I know it's you're living, it's what you do. You're blessed to be able to do, your art is your profession. But from a collector point of view, can I just say thank you for all the passion and energy and inspiration and creativity you've put into these. I think I can speak for everyone in our group, all the collectors, when I say it is so appreciated. So thank you.
Cool. Awesome. Thank you very much.
It really is. All that remains now, Warren, is do you want to sign us off for this week's exciting installment of the Marvel Card Collectors Podcast?
Sure. MCC Podcast. Enjoy it and enjoy collecting.
Thanks for listening to the Marvel Card Collectors Podcast. Visuals and tasting notes for each episode can be found on our Facebook page. You can subscribe and leave us a voicemail via our home on anchor.fm/MCCP. We're also on iTunes, Spotify, and all major podcast platforms. Please take a second to subscribe, like, and review our show wherever you get your podcasts. Our podcast can be found by Googling at the MCC Pod, which will also find us on Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, and Instagram. Our Facebook community is at MCCW, Marvel Card Collectors Worldwide, and MMC, Marvel Masterpieces Collectors. The great music we use is called Rocket Power by Kevin MacLeod. Thanks to the collectors, artists, and creators who support the Marvel Cards Fan Collective. We'll see you next time, and remember, it's a small hobby but a fun one. Make mine Marvel and enjoy collecting.
shooting star.